All right, then we will get started. Welcome everyone to Santaquin City Planning Commission meeting. It's Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. Okay, commissioners, staff, anyone in attendance actually, would anyone like to get us started with a thought or an invocation?
I'll give an inspirational thought.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Thank you, Commissioner Romero. Would anyone like to lead us in the pledge tonight?
I can do that.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Commissioner Waite. Okay. All right, on the screen tonight, there is the agenda. I think we'll proceed in this order unless anyone's got any objections to doing so. Okay. In that case, we will start tonight with the public forum. For those in attendance, that's your opportunity to address the commission with regard to anything that's on your mind. We do have one public hearing scheduled with agenda item number 1. So if you've got comments related to agenda item number 1, please hold those until that public hearing and we'll give you a chance to speak. But right now is your chance to comment on anything else. So we'll open the public forum tonight at 7:02. Would anyone like to address the commission? All right, fair enough. Then we will close the public forum at 7:02, and we'll move right into agenda item number 1. This is a proposed code amendment related to commercial signs.
Yeah, so I think that's my cue.
That's your cue, sorry.
So Ryan Harris put together a great memo explaining what's going on with this proposed amendment. I think the Planning Commission has discussed this in the past with some of the applications that have come forward to you asking for above and beyond two signs. I think for purposes of the public, really the changes, there's a couple clarifications that I think help the ordinance read a little bit well. The language there that was removed was redundant because it mentioned it up above. But basically it's just allowing for the zoning administrator instead of the Planning Commission to approve any additional signs over 2, or if it's on the rear side of the building. Again, some clarifications for, if the building is in historic Santaquin, well, that's kind of vague. So changed it to if the sign is located on a historic building. Historic Preservation Committee is the official name of the committee. So just a few clarifications there, but primarily this is making the zoning administrator the authority to approve a request of over 2 signs for a building. So again, I think the Planning Commission's discussed this, but if you have any questions, happy to answer those. Otherwise, pretty straightforward ordinance amendment that would make those changes as I explained.
Okay, thanks, Jason, for that introduction. We do have a public hearing on this agenda item, so we will open that public hearing now at 7:04. Would anyone like to address the commission during this public hearing on this code amendment? Okay, in that case, we will close the public hearing at 7:04, and we can move into discussion. Makes sense to point out that as is, those sign requests have to come to the Planning Commission for approval. And as you said, we did discuss whether or not it makes sense to have that done, not by the Planning Commission, since it's pretty straightforward in the requirements that are needed for an additional sign.
Especially since the last one, O'Reilly's, even if we didn't like how many signs they had, we couldn't say no because it met all of this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense that we would have to review it
Right.
when.
But this change also speeds up the process for the businesses, right?
And that's part of the reason we wanted to look at this is and to Commissioner Tolman's point, there's maybe a little discretion, but for the most part, with what the Planning Commission looks at, it's kind of, do they meet the criteria? And a lot of times it's there's a pretty good reason why they're asking for a third sign. I mean, the two examples that are good is, like she said, O'Reilly's and then like Little Caesars, where it's pretty visible on three sides. So yeah, this is also an attempt to kind of be a little business friendly and the process to get them going isn't delayed by a planning commission approval that might delay them a couple weeks to wait for the next agenda, next regular meeting scheduled. So that's a good point.
Can anyone think of any reason why we need a larger body like the planning commission to look at a request like this? I couldn't either,
No.
to be honest.
I like
Would
the
it-
idea.
would it
I
come
think
down
it's
to
a good
one?
idea.
Would it come down to
maybe
one
be
staff
business
member
friendly,
approving
bring
it?
businesses
Huh?
in.
Would it come down to one staff member approving it?
So the zoning administrator would be the one who approves it. I can tell you with our staff and that sort of thing, I mean, Ryan's always kind of working with me and looking at different things like that, and obviously with engineering and that. So our staff is kind of a team player, if you will, that works together. And so this isn't like, putting the zoning administrator on a pedestal to start calling all the shots, but it's basically more of an administrative internal staff approval that helps the process move a little quicker.
Would there be any chance of conflict of interests causing problems there that we could avoid otherwise?
Conflicts of interest in what way?
Yeah, I don't know, 7th grade bully comes in and says, I want this, and they're like, no. You know what I mean? Not that it would happen, but if it was with the planning commission, there'd be less of a chance for that. So will that cause us problems is all I'm asking. I don't think it would, but
Yeah, I don't think so. Our staff member doesn't even live in town. If anything, there's probably more conflicts of interest with a planning commissioner who lives in town. But I mean, our staff is professional, and I don't expect that
I
there's
totally agree with you. They are professional, but if there was you know how people get.
They'd have to pass it if it was up to code, right?
Well, again, there's criteria. I can tell you this too with staff, and I know in working with Ryan, if there's any doubt or whether this is controversial or anything like that, we would defer it to planning commissioner, city council, or oftentimes I'll talk with the mayor and say, hey, here's kind of what we're looking at. We can kind of gauge that there might be some feelings on this one. We try and get that sort of guidance.
So that would be the alternate path. And it wouldn't be locked in that way. So, okay, I don't have any problems with it then. I was just worried about, I don't know, somebody got petty and said, well, the guy at the city's not letting me do this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think it's a fair question and it's worth asking, right? I think it's also worth pointing out that there are other things that the zoning administrator has jurisdiction over, right?
Correct.
And decides on.
Yep.
Yeah,
So it's
same
not
thing.
like this would be the first thing,
Yeah.
that would come down to essentially one person approving it.
I mean, really, you could say that all sign permits are approved by the zoning administrator. This is just kind of one of the few exceptions where it might be above and beyond the signage that the zoning administrator would typically approve. It's kind of extra that I think was why the intention of having the planning commission look at it, because it's maybe a little bit above and beyond just a typical sign. It's extra signs.
And I think it's a good idea too with this change, because it's an incentive for small businesses or our businesses to come in here and set up, because I think a lot of times when businesses go to a municipality and there's so many hoops that they have to jump, it's not worth their time or investment to, sit and wait. And, our community needs to start building our economic base. So,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to streamline where we can.
Side note question, do we have like a packet we give to businesses that says, hey, this is how you come to Santaquin and start your business?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
that's something that we could have. I mean, really, right now your mayor is very hands-on and is if someone's interested in Santaquin, usually we'll direct them to the mayor to really sit down and talk about Santaquin. And obviously he has usually Norm or myself that accompany him, and we give them all the data and everything that we can to really help encourage them to look at Santaquin as a great investment for their business.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, good discussion. Anything else we need to talk about on this one? Okay, is anyone prepared to make a motion?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the proposed code amendment, which amends the Santaquin City Code 10.44.080.E.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Romero. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Waite. Let's vote. Commissioner Tolman.
Yes.
Commissioner Waite.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood. Yes. Commissioner Nixon.
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
Commissioner Moe.
Yes.
Okay, that is forwarded with a positive recommendation, and it's unanimous. Very good. Okay, let's move into now agenda item number 2. This is the Santaquin Peaks Plat Amendment number 2.
All right, so this is for an amendment to the plat for the Santaquin Peaks Industrial Park. Specifically, it's these two lots which were purchased by Wasatch Still, which I believe we have somebody here from Wasatch Still. This is one of the more straightforward amendments you'll ever see. It's literally taking those two lots and erasing the property line in between them. They'd like to put the building kind of at the northern part, but obviously with setbacks and things like that, and since they own both lots, they just want to make it consolidated all into one lot. And that's literally what this plat amendment is for, is just technically removing that lot line in between those two lots. So,
Okay. Very good. Since the representative from Wasatch Steel is here, is there anything you'd like to add to that presentation? Pretty basic. Pretty basic. All right. Thank you. Okay, commissioners, thoughts on this one?
I don't see why not.
Exactly.
Pretty straightforward.
it's really a technicality, or a formality, I should say.
I move that we approve the Santaquin Peaks Industrial Park Subdivision Second Amendment.
Very good. We have a motion
I
by
second.
Commissioner Waite,
I second.
second by Commissioner Nixon. Any further discussion? Okay.
No,
let's-
thank you for coming to Santaquin.
Yeah,
thank
sure.
Yeah, appreciate
Hold on,
it.
guys, though. We got to vote. Let's vote. Commissioner Moe.
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
Commissioner Nixon.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood. Yes. Commissioner Waite.
Yes.
Commissioner Tolman.
Yes.
Okay, that is approved and it's unanimous. Very good. Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 3. This is the Bellow Corner infill request. As you can see on the screen, we've got a representative that's going to be joining us via Zoom. So we'll pause here for a minute while we get that set up.
That looks like Jason.
Does look a lot like Jason.
He's right there. You just talked.
It's like the movie.
It's like when you email someone in the next room or text someone that's upstairs.
Yeah.
All right, hopefully Kyle Spencer can see that. That's not what I wanted to, I don't know what the whiteboard is, but I think he's familiar with this. This is, let's see. Let's move forward with this and see if there's any questions or if it's something that he needs to look at and see a little bit better. So we do have a representative here for this subdivision. The next two agenda items are for the proposed Bellow Corner subdivision. We have Race Osler here with us. The first item on the agenda is kind of a separate process for requesting an infill reduction per Santaquin City Code. In the core area of town, there can be an infill reduction to help facilitate some redevelopment or development of properties that are large lots or large parcels of land in the historic core of Santaquin City. This subdivision is located just to the south and a little east of where we're at right now. It's the corner of 200 South and Center Street. It's a 3-lot subdivision, and yep, the plat is up here. There's an existing home on the corner, and they have room to add a couple additional lots. However, in order to make those additional lots work, they need this infill request. The infill request would only affect the frontage requirements. The 2 lots are still big enough to meet the minimum area requirements. They're both over 8,000 square feet. But lot 3 would need a lot width requirement to be reduced by just over 2 feet because as you can see at the top there, it's 77.92. The frontage requirement's 80. Lot 2 would need a little bit more, which would be about 14 and a half feet. Right now they're at 65.69 feet for the width, and so they would be asking for that reduced width of that as part of this infill reduction request. This request kind of goes into the next agenda item, which is basically the subdivision approval. This is kind of something that needs to happen separately and beforehand to kind of help determine the subdivision, the subdivision and whether or not it meets all the requirements. So with that, I think that explains it. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Or like I say, the applicant is here and the engineer is on Zoom as well if you have any questions that apply to him.
Okay, great, thank you. Since the applicant and other representatives are here, I'd give you a chance to address the commission if there's anything else you'd like to say after that presentation.
I think he said it all.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. We might have some questions for you as we get into discussion, but I think it's pretty straightforward. The code allows for this type of infill development and reduction in both lot size and frontage, although we're only dealing with frontage today, right? There's a lot of empty space on that lot, and I don't see why we would want to prevent them from using that. But what do you think, commissioners?
Is there any safety concern for reducing it?
I wouldn't say there's any safety concerns. I think it's just going to be upfront and understood that when that lot's sold, that it's a little bit narrower, and so sometimes that changes the design a little bit. I wouldn't say that it ever extends into safety.
Okay.
It just, whoever buys that knows that they're not going to, probably have to have a little bit narrower house with the setback requirements and that are there. So, it kind of becomes, I think, 2.5 or just over 2 feet is really not much. 15 feet is a little bit more, but we still think it's not much that would impact the usefulness or the ability to put a house on that lot.
One thing that I did want to point out and make sure, I'm sure you've probably let them know, but I wanted to make sure that the applicant is aware that with an infill reduction, there are some additional requirements that come that are required by the code, specifically related to architectural requirements. So I just wanted to make sure that that had been discussed and that you were aware of that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I could mention that the DRC did forward a recommendation to approve this. When this first came to the DRC, there was actually 3 infill requests that were made. So we appreciate the applicant kind of working out and weeding out one of those requests. I think one of them was related to maybe it was related to the lot area. So they were able to kind of work with that and make it so that there was only 2 infill requests that were being made. So.
All right, anything else we need to talk about?
I don't see any problems with it. Does anybody else?
I don't.
I don't.
My question was the safety thing. If there's like fire truck access or anything that's going to be prohibitive there, but I don't think there is.
Yeah, they're both on.
All the fire requirements will still need to be met.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's just an acknowledgement that a house that's built there will just have to be narrow, and that will not jeopardize any of the fire or any of the other code requirements.
Yeah. Currently, there's buildings on lot 3 that would have to be removed if you were going to build on it. Is that correct?
Those have been removed, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any issues with it.
Okay, our job tonight is to approve or deny the request. Is anyone prepared to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the Bellow Corner subdivision infill reduction request, reducing the frontage requirement for lot 2 to 65.69 feet and lot 3 to 77.92 feet.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Tolman. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
You go for it.
Second by Commissioner Romero.
Sorry.
You're good. You are good.
All right, let's vote. Commissioner Moak,
Yes.
Commissioner Romero,
Yes.
Commissioner Nixon,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood, yes, Commissioner Waite,
Yes.
Commissioner Tolman.
Yes.
All right, the infill request is approved and it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, now we can move on to agenda item number 4. This is the actual subdivision of Bellow Corner.
Yeah, so we obviously have talked a little bit about the lot configuration and lot sizes and lot widths and that sort of a thing. So again, it's the 3 lots on 0.61 acres, 3 lots with the measurements that we just talked about. The city council did approve a deferral agreement for the subdivision, so sidewalk, curb, gutter, those sorts of things will be deferred to some point in the future. The infill reduction request was approved, and then when DRC made their recommendation to move forward, there were some red lines, and they have addressed those. So, yeah, again, pretty straightforward 3-lot subdivision, and you've seen the plat before, so yeah, I don't know if there's much more I need to say about it, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Maybe just a quick question on the process since it changed recently, right? This is the preliminary plan. How does the process proceed after this?
So after this, it's the exact same. It would go to DRC for final approval. The only thing that's changed in the subdivision approval process is the Planning Commission is now the land use authority for all preliminary plans. It used to be that you were only the land use authority for 3 lots or less, but now you're the land use authority for all subdivisions. In essence, the city council has been taken out of the subdivision review process. So yeah, tonight would be an approval, deny or table of the preliminary plan. And then from there, then that's how you always been used to it, where it goes back to DRC for final approval before the plat's recorded.
All right, very good. Thank you for that refresher. All right, commissioners, what do we need to talk about on the subdivision preliminary plan?
I don't have any
I'm good with
questions.
Yeah, I don't have
That
any.
looks good.
Okay, what do you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the preliminary plans for the Bellow Corner subdivision.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Nixon. Do we have a second?
I'll second this one.
Second by Commissioner Moak.
She's got it.
All right, let's vote. Commissioner Tolman,
Yes.
Commissioner Waite,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood, yes. Commissioner Nixon,
Yes.
Commissioner Romero,
Yes.
Commissioner Moak.
Yes.
All right, that preliminary plan is approved and it's unanimous. Good discussion. Thank you very much. Okay. That brings us to the end of the main agenda tonight. We have some additional business to wrap up at the end. We need to look at the minutes from our last meeting on June 11th and hopefully get those approved tonight. Do we need any discussion on the minutes from June 11th? And if not, does anyone want to make a motion on those minutes to approve them?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from June 11th. Did I say that correctly?
Yep.
Yep.
June, okay.
All right, thank you. We've got a motion by Commissioner Tolman. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Waite. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, those minutes are approved and it's unanimous. What else do we need to talk about? Any other business?
Just a couple things I'll bring up to you. First is probably at your next meeting in July. There's a 5th Tuesday, so your next meeting is not till what is it, August 12th or something?
13th.
13th.
Day before school starts.
Yeah. So
Before, yeah.
in the meantime, and we'll encourage her to maybe come and introduce herself, but we'll have a new employee in the community development department that will start, another planner. Her name is Aspen. So we're excited to see her start, and she'll obviously be very helpful to the things that Ryan and the whole community development department is working on. So we'll maybe try and have her come next meeting and introduce herself, because she may be involved in helping with some of the things that come to the Planning Commission. And then the other thing is just enjoy Orchard Days. It's starting this Saturday and will be all next week. So otherwise, I don't come to too many of these meetings anymore, but that's all that I'd have for you.
All right, thanks, Jason. It's nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right, commissioners, anything else we need to talk about tonight?
No.
Okay. Well, not quite for the record books, but I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:25.
All right. We are adjourned at 7:25.